I used to be so stuck on a man that I would literally forget that it would be another man available. Like, sis, if he's not treating you well, another man will. It's really that simple. Don't be stuck on stupid. And I'm not calling nobody stupid, but I used to be. Don't be desperate for some situation. It's a better man out there. Trust me. It's a way better man out there.
I would have missed my husband if I went by the flesh. In the natural, when he asked me out, I gave him 1,001 reasons why it would not work. The Bible says a natural man cannot receive the things of God because they are spiritually discerned. Someone may look perfect on the outside, but they may not be good for your destiny. And someone may not look like it. They are the ones God has designed to walk the journey of purpose with you. So I was discerning him by the flesh. I was like, no, I cannot work. You are doing a PhD. I'm somewhere in Nigeria doing my own thing. He just made a statement. He said, go and pray about it.
I think men love more authentically than women.
Huh?
Oh, this is what I mean by that.
You said, say it again.
I said, I think men love more authentically than women. And this is why.
I can agree, but go ahead.
Women are in love with love.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And because of that, I think you guys are wired to stick anybody in that spot. You can make him fit. You guys are socialized from little girls to fall in love with the process, the pageantry of love, the courting phase and the dates and the, you know what I'm saying? He put his hand on my thigh and we walked down the aisle and all that stuff. On the flip side, when a man figures out that realizes he's in love, that's not a happy experience. He's like, God damn. Because that is a responsibility.
He's telling the truth.
Now, because again, our two jobs are provide and protect. I love her means that I'm willing to die for her. That's not part of your responsibility. Right. So we're not going to be as flippant or as, generous with that love. Plus, we're not socialized to fall in love.
Welcome back to the channel. And you saw a couple of videos. And through those, and again, you see what's also on the screen. So through those, the point I'm trying to make here is that there are these paths that each one of us has, to go down. And then there's a part that we're all playing, right? So I'm going to lean into the women a little bit to get us started. But then I also have, a few words for the men. All right. So today we're just talking about love, falling in love, finding your person, and what it takes to go through all of that, right? So I want to highlight, the Nigerian lady that was talking about how she almost missed her husband. In fact, that was like the title, of her particular video. And see, one of the things that a lot of women don't understand, one of the things that I've learned with a lot of women is that many of them talk about how their husband, was totally different than any man that they have dated before. I've heard that so many times by so many women that honestly, I really think is just a kind of a part of the flow. Over time, I've recognized that a lot of women just don't do well at picking out great men. Now, some of them do. And if I'm not talking about you right now, don't worry about it. Just keep watching the video, but don't, get all in your emotions. But a lot of women just do horrible when it comes to picking men. And like I said, I believe that media is a huge factor. I believe that, not having a really great father at home for, 18 years is a huge factor. I think having a lot of single friends who did not have, good fathers and or watch a lot of bad media is also another factor. And then there's a lot of other little ones along the way, including first boyfriends who you knew you should have stayed away from, but you got with them anyway, right? So as a woman gets into her 20s, going into her 30s and 40s, now she generally is in a dilemma because her sexual energy, based off all these other things in the past, is driving her down this path toward bad men. And men over and over again. And I'm going to be real, it's like, even in the church, it really doesn't matter. You would think that women who have come to faith in Jesus, who even when I talk over and over again on this channel about finding a Jesus-like man, a man that is a servant leader, you would believe that women would lean into that. No matter what it would take to make that happen, they would lean into that and they would be ready to do the work. But in reality, a lot of women still don't want to do that work. They believe that, that dating and falling in love should be easy. It's almost like the guy was saying, to borrow a little bit from him. He was talking about how, when a man falls in love, he's not necessarily happy about it. He's now recognizing all the responsibilities that come with love. But with women, it's like they have to understand that it is a process. And that process is something that comes from the heart and also comes from the mind. And it actually is controllable. And again, old school women understood this, that they could literally give their heart to anyone. That it really wasn't necessarily about a man that they held in their heart that they should have got rid of a long time ago, is that they can really replace one man for another. You don't believe me? Okay, so let's talk a little bit about, we don't know much about her per se, but when you think about Solomon's mother, okay, Solomon's mother was actually married to a man, okay? And then David comes in, and then he kind of plucks her out even while she's still married. Okay, it was all wrong. Don't get me wrong. It was all wrong. But what we see is that not only did she stay, with David, which she can't really deny the king anyway, especially back in those days, but we see Solomon come from her later. Okay, so we at least know that there was love, okay, that this woman had to have for David. She wasn't necessarily holding too much onto the older husband. We see this even, as we start to go through when you even talk about Ruth. Okay. And Ruth was married before she married Boaz, and her husband died. Okay. It was not uncommon for a woman to actually have a husband that died in war or something like that, but then she's able to move on. And so what happens is a lot of women are holding on to bad men. That's the point I'm trying to make. Okay. A lot of women are holding on to the energy of bad men. And even if those men are still on the earth, it's not so much about the man per se, it's about their energy. And that's why we talk about sexual energy, because women have to release the sexual energy of the bad people, or, because not every man is bad, and I don't want to always play that game of the bad boy. Okay. Sometimes you're just in love with an energy, okay, that is not helpful to you. That particular energy is just not good for where you're trying to go in your life. For instance, you might be a woman who has a little bit of ambition. You want to start, your own store or whatever it is. And then you find really great men, but they tend not to be supportive of your hopes and dreams. In that particular scenario, they're good guys. They take care of you. They're nice. You actually have good energy with them, but they're just not supportive in what you want. So that's why I say there's so many different ways that we can look at this. I don't want to always look at it as the good guy and the bad guy, together. The point of all of this is really that women are going down a path where they're actually allowing themselves to release the energy that wasn't working. No matter how you feel about it, you have to release it. Because ultimately, it still goes down to, if you have dated 2 or 3 men in that energy and it's never worked, then why are you still doing it? So you have to release it. And you have to be willing to do the work to bud new energy. And for a lot of women, I think they're very concerned about what they might consider boring men or dull men, or, and I think that's one of the problems with the whole good guy trope, is that we think that those men are boring and dull. All right. But again, all of that is just really based upon your opinion. So when you release that energy, what that allows you to do is to come back to a place, okay, where you can start to learn about new men in new situations, okay, so that you can grow, okay, in a place where you can actually find the man of your dreams. You can't get your husband holding on to old boyfriends, right? You can't go forward while you're still reaching backward. You have to release it. And I know a lot of women will say, okay, well, I've done that. I've done the work on myself. I've done time, where maybe I took 6 months off, a year off, 2 years off from dating. But I've tried to explain to you on this channel that really will not help you in the long run, right? Because if the issue is that you are actually attracted to men that aren't good for you, none of that work will help you. None of it. You have to change who you are going after. And this is why so many women say things like, my husband was so much different from any of the men that I dated before. Okay, that's where that comes from. And this is why so many women almost miss their husbands, as the lady was trying to allude to, because I think she has like 1 or 2 parts to that. So that was just the first part of it. But that's the whole point. As long as she's holding on to this ideal in her mind of what she thinks a man is, she'll never be able to go into the true fruit of what God has for her, or, whatever she's able to find for the people that are not, Christian, right? So we have to think about it from that perspective. Okay, now for the men. When you are dealing, because I've seen so many things online where so many men are very frustrated about the protector provider piece. I'm gonna be honest, I see it. It's just this frustration a lot of men have with it. And honestly, guys, you really should not be frustrated. It's like, even I've seen a couple of videos where they even talk about how a woman's love is conditional. And there are men out there very frustrated about that. They really just don't like that. And I'll be honest, like I've told you all before, that's not all women. Okay, that's generally a subset of women, but that's not all women. All right. And I've kind of told you in the past how you can kind of look and figure out which is which. But the main thing, to keep us on topic for today, the main thing is, as a man, I'll be honest with you, you really shouldn't care that much. You should care in the dating process and in the finding of a good woman and the best woman you can have. But then after that, it's really not that big of a deal. And you might say, Jay, how can you say that? Dude, come on, man. Again, I'm trying to get y'all to have more of an old school mindset. When you look at men of the past, so like I said, you think about a rich baller that you saw in a movie, or that, you think about in the past, or even other things, like I said, where you think about some, rich fat cat, quote unquote, that is living high on the money. Let's say somebody like that. When you think about these men, these multi-million dollar men, these multi-billion dollar men, these men really don't care. They don't. The woman attaches herself to him primarily because of money. We see this. So if you have a playboy, he's walking, he has 2 or 3 women following him, he's a millionaire. We know that those women are there primarily for the money. We know that. But you don't see that playboy upset about it. He just goes, throughout his life. Okay? He doesn't disrespect those women because they're there for that reason. That's just part of it. That's more of what we would consider the worst of female nature, but it's still a part of every single woman. All women have that a little bit. All right? And then there's part of us where we can be shallow in certain areas just a little bit. So the point I'm trying to make here is, I'm not saying you should not care about it at all. But I am saying is, you should not be so overly worried about it that it gets you stuck. Because we have to think about, and again, like I say, this is a Christian channel. So we have to remember that every one of our fears, every one of our concerns, every little thing that the devil can find a way, to find fault with, to split us, to go up, to make us go down two totally different paths, men versus women, he's going to do it. So he's going to whisper in your ear, oh man, these women, man, they're going to leave you. They don't love you. They don't never love you. Man, you know they conditional. He's going to whisper in your ear, oh man, she pretty now, but she going to let that go when she get married to you, because the only reason why she pretty is for you. It's to try to get a man. Oh man, you know, these women, man, they just after your money, man. They just trying to get your money. Oh man, you don't know if that child is yours. Oh man, you better get that DNA test, man. All these women out here, you know, they can't keep it to themselves. See, when you're constantly in that energy, that's the energy that paralyzes you. And it makes you see the bad versus seeing the good. And so, this it can kind of go for both men and women. What we all have to do, and can be difficult, is that we have to get our mindset on positivity. Like one of the things in the scriptures that I've put up so many times, but I'll put it up again, is it talks about do not go to an angry man or woman, okay, or you will learn to be like them, okay? And basically by doing that, you bring curses upon yourself. And how you're bringing curses upon yourself, where you're lining up with that energy. See, a lot of people out here, as crazy as it sounds, whether you're a man or a woman, find mainly good people when they date. There are people out here that even if they get a divorce, within 3 years, they get married again. Okay, there are people out here that are literally happily married. There are men out here who have found great women that don't act crazy, that have their back, that grow with them and all of this. And there are women out here who have found great men who are protector, provider, and leaders that are doing everything right. And a part of getting to those people is changing your perspective, okay, on the fact that these people exist, the fact that you can get one, the fact that all of that can come to you. Because like I said, your energy goes before you. So if you have this mindset that every single person out here is bad, that's what you're going to run into over and over and over again, bad people. And if you have a mindset that you run into good people, then you're going to run into good people. That's just how it is. I mean, the average Pooky is not sitting around thinking, yo, I'm not going to find me no woman today that's going to take care of me, that's going to give me some money, and she going to be fine. You know, he don't leave the house without that mindset. And even though most women ain't making money like that, okay, most women are not in that 100,000 range. Most women aren't at that 8, 9, 10 level. Most women ain't living like that. Pooky believes that he can get one. Pooky believes that he can go out there and get those women. Okay, and that's the part I'm trying to let all of you know, whether you're a male or female. If you allow Pooky to believe it and he's achieving it, okay, why can't you believe the same? Okay, so this is a little bit more of a motivational today, but it's like, if he can do it, then you can do it. Okay, if there are women out here that's one step away from a hood rat, okay, and they can go out here and they can get good men to spend money on them and take care of them and do this and do that, then that means it's a lot of really great women out here that can do the same. So no matter what the situation is, we have to analyze a lot of times our own energy. And that's why I encourage you all to really pay attention to the people that you're watching. Okay, because the people that you're watching and you're listening to, okay, they just need to be more positive than negative. There's nothing wrong with trying to know what's going on in these streets. But it's another thing to lean in on the negative. You know, it's like I told you guys, I don't remember where the video is, so I don't think I'm going to be able to find it. But, you know, Helena Paschal, you know, like I said, I've done a couple of her videos. And so I did so many of them that, like I said, I was literally like feeling like me and her were in conversation. I was doing so many of them. And in one of her videos, she talked about it. She talked about how when, you know, you have a lot of women out here that are basically talking about how bad dating is and how bad men are and all this other kind of stuff and how you shouldn't submit and all this kind of stuff. And then she found out a lot of those same influencers were married, fully submitted to their husbands, happy, blah, blah, blah. But what those people recognized was they can make more money by selling the negative. Okay, and so that's what they're selling to everybody out here. They're selling the negative. But one of the things I'm trying to let you all know is until you grab hold to the positive, your life really is not going to change all that much. You have to grab hold to the positive. And when we're talking about healing, whether it be men or women, and when I say healing, I'm talking about more emotional, I'm talking about more attitude, you know, different things like that. When you get to that healing, you have to believe that there are really great people out here. You know, and I know for me, I've seen a lot of really great people. Okay, there are, you know, absolutely beautiful women who are nice, kind, sweet, who got their life together, you know, different things like that. You know, and I'm not going to say that you're going to go out there and find your perfect person tomorrow. But what I am going to say is that you have to have that energy to believe just so you can get around those people. All right. Because again, even if you found one and your attitude is all about, well, all these men out here ain't about nothing and all these women out here ain't about nothing, they're going to feel that on you. And they're not going to want to talk to you because you're walking in that. So here are some practical solutions, you know, for you. Like I said, you know, I would definitely encourage you to double check your social media. Is your social media leaning you more towards negative or is it leaning you more towards positive? So that's number one. Number two, okay, you need to, you know, get in the word evidently, but you also need to be thinking about the good type of person that you want. You really need to kind of know what you want out here. And for the ladies, when you make, you know, making your mind, you know, make up in your mind what you want, please don't lean so much into your sexual nature. Don't lean so much into the man flirting and different things like that and that sexual underlying energy. Instead, focus more on the key elements that you know your soul needs, which is the protection, provision, and leadership. And for the men, you know, lean into, again, the good aspects, that kindness, that sweetness, that support. And then even with beauty, is a huge difference between a woman, you know, being a 10 out of 10 or a woman being a 7 out of 10. You know, and 7 out of 10 women are very attractive. Okay, so again, you know, you kind of have to think about it that way. And then, like I say, think about the qualities, you know, that you want, the habits, the hobbies. And then as you think about those are really great places, you know, if those are outside of your home to meet people. So again, if you like to hike, then hike. You know, if you like to do things like that, get out the house. If you're a foodie, you know, are there any groups in your area that tend to be more foodie-esque where you could join them? And ladies, don't try to join an all women's group. All right. You know, I don't understand why women do that. You know, I really don't think women should be really involved with more than one, maybe two all women's groups. You know, how does that help you find a man if you're always around women? All right. So these are just some things that you can think about, you know, as you're going forward. But your person is out there, but you need, just like I said, you just need to have that good, happy energy in order to get them. Because like I said, when you meet them, and you're going to meet them, I'm guaranteeing you're going to meet them. Okay, you might meet several of them. In fact, you still need to have good energy. And I'm even talking to myself because I was actually out somewhere recently, and I ain't gonna lie, you know, I was kind of mad. I didn't like how the location was set up and different things like that. And there was a young lady that came up to me, and she was attractive, and she actually was my type. And I was actually a little frustrated about everything else that I did not, you know, put my best foot forward. And that's what I'm talking about when I say energy. So you want to try to keep your energy happy and light and different things like that, and not line up so much into that negativity, and then get around people that are positive, not negative, if you can. All right. So remember, there's a lot of really great things in that description, all about marriage. So I want you guys to lean into that, and please like and subscribe. I'm going to see you all in the very next video.